Hi, everyone. Welcome to Turning Point. I'm your host, Blaine Bertsch, co-founder and CEO at Dryrun cash flow forecasting software. And I'm really excited to have two entrepreneurs today, a father-son, John and Mark Cronin from John's Crazy Socks. Is such an interesting story. Mark being a longtime entrepreneur, and then John and him sort of jumping in and kicking off John's Crazy Socks, which has grown really rapidly. It's such a terrific story. And so I'm really excited to have you guys on the show. Thanks for joining me today.
Well, we're glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us on, Blaine.
Thanks so much, Blaine. I really appreciate being on your podcast.
Talking to entrepreneurs, particularly serial entrepreneurs, that's our tribe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I joined the app pack.
These are our people, right?
Absolutely. I joined the app pack and create opportunities out there.
I find we talk with entrepreneurs, even in my day job with Dryrun. We talk with entrepreneurs daily all across the globe. And it's so interesting that you can talk with an entrepreneur from almost anywhere, and it's kind of the same challenges and same stories. So it really is a community that we love to talk to. And but to kick it off, because I know we were talking before the show started here, Mark, you would actually, before we dive into kind of John's Crazy Socks, what you guys are doing now, I know you've actually had you started out as an entrepreneur quite a long time ago, and I wanted to dive into a little bit of that and set the stage for what you guys are doing now. Where did you get started as an entrepreneur?
Well, Blaine, and I'm sure the folks sitting out there listening have found something similar. I can look back, and I didn't have the language for it, but even as a kid, I was being entrepreneurial.
Mm-hmm.
I remember sixth grade. I grew up in Long Island, outside New York City. I'm old, so I was the tail end of the baby
Are you
boom.
old now?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, bravo.
So there are all these kids around, and in the summer, I organized a baseball league that we would play during the day, and every street had a team.
I love baseball.
I went away to college, and this was, kind of the way I think entrepreneurs sometimes think. Different day and age. It's the 1970s.
Yeah.
And I read this book, Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test, by Tom Wolfe, about Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters. And they would have these giant parties that today I guess you'd call a rave. And they had their house band, the Warlocks, who went on to become called the Grateful Dead. So I'm reading this and I'm thinking, I'd like to go to a party like that. But I don't know of anybody having a party like that. I should do that.
Nice.
I came back to school, this was my sophomore year. I called a couple of friends in. And again, I didn't have language for it. And I said, you guys are all going to pony up $100 to help me sponsor this party. And, different day and age, we bought a pounder pot that we just kept reselling to make money. And I was already running these Wednesday night keg parties. So, we took a little money each week from that, put it into the kitty, and staged this huge 3-day party where we had bands, and it was wonderful. It wasn't changing the world. But I also went on and started something called the Lunchbox Theater there, putting on plays and poetry readings. And so if you had asked me then, are you an entrepreneur? I probably hadn't even heard the word. But and I've shared this with students because we speak to a lot of colleges and universities. You can be entrepreneurial within organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So by the late 80s, I was working in New York City government at the Human Resource Administration that had 35,000 employees. And I wound up in charge of the Medicaid health program. In the States here, Medicare is a program for the elderly, Medicaid is a program for the poor. Okay. And wound up driving on how do we fix this program, which is well-intentioned, accomplishes some good things, but it's a mess and it's expensive. And we overhauled and changed the program. Now, that was very entrepreneurial, but it was in this horrid bureaucracy. Went on from there to work in some startups with VC funding, VC standing both for venture capitalist and a Viet Cong, and they have a lot in common. Um, as we were trying to figure out how do you better deliver healthcare to the poor,
Mhm.
starting some Medicaid HMOs, but also some programs to work with doctors to give them more leverage. Along the way, and some of those were successful and some were not. One of the things I started was New Gutenberg software. We put out Baseball from Windows 94.
Okay.
It was aimed at real baseball aficionados and the fantasy baseball sorts.
Okay. Yeah.
It was long enough ago. It came on 13 hard disks, and we got rave reviews
Yeah.
and lost every penny we put into it. Um, and I got asked about it, but if we didn't do that, we never would have done John's Crazy Socks,
Yeah.
right? And it reaches a point where I think if you're truly entrepreneurial, you become unemployable
Yes.
because you can't
That is
work for
true.
somebody else.
Yeah. It's very
You're
true.
going to go do it yourself. Now, if you really want to accomplish things, you got to be able to work with others. You got to be able to put the team together.
Yeah.
Um, I had that background mainly in the healthcare field.
Hmm.
But this particular business, John's Crazy Socks, is all due to my partner here.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, it was your idea.
It's my idea. I want to sell Christmas socks. Why socks? It's fun, it's colorful, it's creative. It'll always let me be me. I want crazy socks my whole life. We try around look for those socks. And it's incredible.
But it
I
started.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I I can kind of identify with that because I remember going into a sock store in Times Square to buy my wife some crazy socks because she loves socks. And also in Vegas when I was at a conference one time, I went and found them and I got socks with sushi on them or something. And so I will admit when I saw it, like the store, I was also like, oh, I got to check that out because and they're super fun. So I got to give you guys credit for jumping on that.
Well, John's Crazy Socks also started, and I think this happens oftentimes with entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
It started out of something bad. It started with a problem.
yeah,
Um, the business there were things going on with me, but with John, we go back to 2016, and where were you?
I was at Huntington High School. I could be my last year of school.
okay,
And he's trying to figure out what comes next,
yeah,
like everybody else.
like
Right.
everybody else. Yeah,
And what were you looking at?
I look at job program and school. I can't find a career option I don't like.
And Blaine, this is an
yeah,
unfortunate reality. It's true
yeah.
in Canada, it's true in the US. There are just not enough opportunities for people with
Hmm.
different abilities. Only 1 in 5 people with a disability are employed in the US. It's awful.
Yeah,
But John here, he is a natural entrepreneur. Okay,
yeah.
if you couldn't find a job you wanted, what'd you say?
I said I want to create one. I want to make one.
And
Yeah.
no hemming and hawing, no wringing his hands. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. It was just, and he told me, he comes to me and says,
Yeah, I said I want to be with my dad. A nice father and son being together.
and
Yeah. Well, and John, like this is not uh I've heard this from other entrepreneurs too, where there was some sort of challenge in front of them, and they just went, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself. I'm gonna create my own opportunity. And obviously you get that from your dad because it's the same. You see opportunity and you turn a challenge into an opportunity. And that is just like right to the core of an entrepreneur, right? So I really give you credit for seeing like spotting that opportunity, but also like you guys have made a great business here. So it's not just the opportunity, it's the execution. You guys have done a really good job on that side, right? And that's not easy.
well, execution is all. There's lots of people who have lots of good ideas. You have to take action, and then you have to make it work.
Yeah.
Um, with us, we started the lean startup route.
Hmm.
John, it was very quick. It was right before the U.S. Thanksgiving when John came and said we should sell socks.
I did.
And kind of the response you had was, okay, if you love these socks this much, surely there'll be other people.
Hmm.
Um, we eschewed the deep planning and said, let's get something up and running.
Hmm.
So we built a website on the Shopify platform,
Okay.
got a little bit of inventory. The only marketing we really did was set up a Facebook page. I would take out my cell phone and we made videos. And who do you think was in those videos?
I am. I talk about socks.
Yeah.
Socks, socks, more socks.
And we opened mid December, like December 9th, just to test it. The first day, we got what felt like a flood of orders. We got 42 orders.
Yeah.
Most of them were
It's amazing.
local, which
Yep.
made sense because
Yep.
you're in the high school. We lived there. We had temporary office space. How did we deliver those first orders?
Our home deliveries, we got our red boxes, a nice box, put in a sock in the box, about all the bags for the kids, throwing them in, and I put a sticky note about
Right? He adds his thank you note. We pour Hershey's Kisses in the box, load up the car, drive
Hmm.
around, and you knock on doors handing out socks.
yeah, they did.
How the customers respond?
I just love the socks. They want to take a picture with me, box of socks, and a customer, and share it on social media. What I get as praise.
I mean, it's
Hmm.
there were funny things happening. There would be times we're driving around. He gets out of the car. I see him. He goes in the house. I'm sitting out there. It's cold. It's dark. I'm like, where the heck is he? Meanwhile, he's inside drinking hot chocolate, taking pictures. But the end of that month, really 2 weeks,
Yep.
we had shipped 452 orders,
Oh, wow.
and
Yeah.
we knew we had something. We
Yeah.
didn't know how large it would grow. We didn't know how fast, but we knew we had something that we could make work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Because you obviously had like the idea, you had the product. You also had an opportunity to build a brand that was really um, like legit. Like this is just you guys, right? But you're able to build a brand off of that, which is amazing.
we were we knew who we were, and we knew what we were about from day one.
Mhm.
What's our mission?
A spring happiness.
And that was our focus. Um, over the next year, we refined that somewhat. Um, so we knew that was the mission. And one of the things you learn over time is you can't just pay lip service to it.
Mhm.
It's gotta. We talk about it every day. It's got to drive our decision making process. And
Mhm.
we built the business on 5 pillars.
It's spirit and hope. Give it back. Find party you can love. Make it personal. Make it quickly to us.
Right. We added the last one, make it a great place to work, after we had employees.
Yeah.
Um, but you could see, that making it personal from day one. The home deliveries, every package to this day. Now we're up to like 475,000 packages sent to 89 different countries. Every
Mhm.
package gets a thank you note from John, candy, and on the packing slip now you see the picture and the name of the person who packed your order. So
Mhm.
you're not
Wow.
just getting the socks, you're getting a dose of happiness.
Yeah.
Um,
So I got a little question about that before we step on. How did you make that scalable? Like how did you do like that kind of volume on and how do you increase and keep it personal with as your volume increases?
well, we have some scars, um,
Mhm.
and we can tell the story and it sounds smooth. It's never always been smooth.
Yeah.
Um, like even that first weekend, we didn't know what to expect. We had a little bit of inventory. We opened on a Friday. By Saturday afternoon, we're running out of socks.
Mhm.
Where the heck are we going to get socks on a Saturday evening? Well, we drove to every Kmart in Suffolk County and bought all the socks we could, just so we
Yeah.
would have some inventory.
Yeah.
The first kind of big leap we took came in March. So we had been growing steadily.
Mhm.
And the first weekend of March, we ran a pop up shop locally in a bar and restaurant, and that was great. And that evening,
Yeah.
John wanted to go to dinner. We were driving like 45 minutes to get to this restaurant, the meatball
A
place.
meatball place.
And if you know those folks out there that use Shopify, you can put an app on your phone and you get a little cha-ching every time you get a sale.
Yeah.
My eldest says it's like a pheromone release. Um, all of a sudden, the phone starts going crazy. And I'm looking at our Google Analytics and our Shopify stats, trying to figure out where is this coming from? What's going on? At one point in my hubris, I say, well, you know what it must be? That SEO work I've been doing. It turns out there's an online journal called The Mighty.
Mhm.
They did an interview with us, never even spoke to us. It was an email interview process. And that Saturday, they released a video. Again, they didn't shoot any original clips, it's a
Mhm.
slideshow video. Last I looked, that video had over 20 million views.
Oh, wow.
So we went from doing 40 or 50 orders a day to over 1,000 orders a day,
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah.
which, watch what you ask for,
Yeah.
you may get it. Almost put us out of business um,
Yeah. We
as
hear
we
that from,
scrambled just for infrastructure
yeah.
um, and to grow. So it took us, I think, and we did grow. Um, so that first year we did $1.7 million in revenue.
Wow.
I think it took us 3 years to really get our sea legs.
Yeah.
Um, but
So,
here's something
yes,
that
sir. Yep.
so I had never run a warehouse before,
Yeah.
but I had run claims operations in the medical field. There's a lot of similarities. Orders
Okay.
come in, claims come in, you have to process them. You
Mhm.
set up that workflow. You got to have the right systems. You got to set the systems up right. Um, that you make that work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but part of it is also, again, it comes back to knowing what matters and focusing on that and making sure everybody's buying in.
Yeah.
So I can share a couple examples of that. Yes, it's not a handwritten thank you note; it's a copied thank you note. Yes, we put candy in, and one a day, one of our happiness packers comes to us and says, we sell socks for diabetics, and we're
Mhm.
sending them candy. What's wrong with that picture? Ah, so now
Yeah.
we have a supply of sugar-free candy,
Okay.
right? Um, if you everybody out there, your email list is so important. And you need, to maximize it, you want to segment that so you can personalize it.
Mhm.
Well, we segment our fulfillment. If this is
Mhm.
your first order, so everybody gets the same ingredients. But
Yep.
if this is your first order, you get one package. If it's your second or third order, you get a different package. We have 5 different packages.
Okay.
Um, it's none of this is rocket science.
Mhm.
It's just paying attention and executing on it. And that's one of our pillars is making sure it's fun products you can love, but it's delivered on the promise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the part that I'm really intrigued about, because my businesses have never been inventory or product based service. Like we have software, but software as a service. Before that, I had a creative agency for over a decade, so it was basically fee for service, project based business. Um, when you went from like all of a sudden you're up to 1,000 pair of socks a day, and like you said, suddenly like you kind of skipped over a little bit of that. So I'm kind of curious because suddenly it's like you have orders, you need inventory, you need cash to get that inventory, you need sort of a warehouse, you need to do all of the, like you said, like the boxing, you've got 5 different packages, now you have staff. I'm just curious, how did you start to coordinate this and build it so that you could literally like, you couldn't stop and go, okay, well, let's launch next year after we've got this in place. Like you kind of had to grow, which is a real challenge. The famous quote, I believe it was from the founder of LinkedIn. It's like a startup, you jump off the cliff and you build the airplane on the way down. It's like kind of
Yes,
feels like
it's
that, right?
try doing some of that. So when we first started, that first Christmas, we had some local media outlets reach out to us. I didn't flatly say no, but I kind of did because I knew we had no infrastructure.
Yeah.
And we spent January and February trying to build some of that infrastructure. That said, we were overwhelmed when we made that jump. And
Yeah.
there are always crazy stories you can tell. I remember going to Best Buy to buy 2 more computers so we had more packing stations and convincing 2 of their employees to come work for us the next day.
Nice. Yeah.
The first 2 years, our revenue just climbed.
Yep.
And because of the way we got paid in e-commerce, and there were some hiccups there, you get the money almost right away. So we were able to fund it ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There were problems, though. I mean, we were undercapitalized. So at the end of the second year, we had a banner year.
Mm-hmm.
Revenue was up. On paper, we made a profit. I'm sitting with my accountant. I'm saying, how come I have no money? He says, come on, Mark. Let's look in your warehouse. It's all in
Yeah.
your inventory,
It's
all
all sitting.
in your infrastructure.
Yeah.
The next year, things came down to earth. If you looked at 17, so that was 2000, the third year was 2019.
Mm-hmm.
If you looked at 17 to 19, you would have seen nice growth. But 18 was in the middle, which was, and we didn't fully appreciate it then, an aberration.
Yeah.
We had overhired, in retrospect, overhired.
Mm-hmm.
Things come crashing down. And now we're caught with severely undercapitalized.
Yeah.
We go out looking for money. All the people that had lined up saying, we love this, we'd love to invest. The banks, they all came through. The banks said, oh, we love everything. We love the profit. We love the growth. We love everything about you. We're not going to give you any money. You're a startup.
That's the
We
banks.
had investors
Yeah.
come in,
Yeah.
and mainly what they wanted to do was buy the brand.
Mm.
And they thought the brand was somehow the name and the URL. They didn't understand. They wanted to buy the brand and shut us down. And I knew if you did that, you've lost everything.
Yeah.
So by the end of that year, I had to let people go. We're a very seasonal business. I thought,
Mm.
okay, we just make it to the holidays, but I had no money for inventory.
Yeah.
We were virtually bankrupt. At one point, I met with a bankruptcy law firm who said, oh, we can help you. Just all we have to do is give us $25,000 up front. I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
if I had
How's that helping?
$25,000, I'm not talking to you.
Exactly. That's
The
exactly.
good news is, after kissing a lot of toads, we found our partner. We found a strategic partner,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
third generation family business, 10 times, more than 10 times our size, been around for 60 years, making socks for brand names
Mm.
and department stores.
Yeah.
So that gave us the manufacturing heft we needed because we started off just selling other people's socks.
Yep.
And it stabilized our finances. That helped us survive.
Mhm.
But there are issues there too.
Mhm.
These are good people, and we have similar values.
Mhm.
It's not quite like working with um, a ravenous VC fund that's going to come in and take over and squeeze everything.
Yeah.
But over time, you realize, we really have different values.
Mhm.
In day to day and how you manage, and so it took us a few years to kind of change that up.
Yeah.
Um, we had the original plan was John and I would be focused on all the outbound. They would manage everything day to day. They would manage all the operations and the sales, except didn't work. And our sales dropped last year, the lowest they've been. So now we've taken back over the day to day and the marketing. We're growing again. Um,
Mhm.
you know, it, and those differences can be small, but it comes back again to who are you? What are your values? What do you believe in? And I'll share an example. It's the one lollipop, two lollipop choice. So yes, we put candy in every pack.
Mhm.
What candy did we start with?
Hundred kisses.
Hershey's Kisses, which everybody loved. Until we got the warm weather and we got the email from the woman in Florida saying you don't want to send chocolate to the mail, right?
Yeah, I was wondering. I'll be honest. I was wondering a bit about that.
So eventually we moved on to Skittles. And
Yeah.
we sent out, I don't know, 350,000 packages of Skittles and reached out to the Mars Corporation, and said, why don't you become the official candy of John's Crazy Socks? And we could cross promote.
Mhm.
We eventually spoke to the right person, the right executive, who said, well, this all sounds nice, but we're in partnership with the NFL and NASCAR. We think we'll take a pass. Okay.
Mhm.
So then I'm like, well, what the hell am I buying all this Skittles for?
Mhm.
And our Lord of the Socks, that's who runs our warehouse and our fulfillment, he found us a lollipop company. Some people call them suckers. And we were paying 26 cents a package for the Skittles. Well, we got the lollipops for just under 5 cents each.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to save money, and this is easy. Two lollipops, one for you, one to give to a friend. That's in
Yeah.
keeping with who we are, with the generosity, with the spreading happiness.
Spread the happiness. Yeah.
Well, my partners look and say, what are you talking about? One lollipop. And if people have a problem, they'll let us know, and then we can reconsider.
That's yeah. That's
And I
backward. That's so
realized as we're
backwards.
having this conversation
Yeah.
that no, we are continents apart on what we're doing here.
Yeah.
You know, and part of it is you have to, you always have to know who you are. You got to know what your values are, and you have to be willing to spend money on them.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, and it's like when you say that, it's like that's so integral to the brand. Like it makes so much spread the happiness. You give two lollipops. Like that is brilliant. That's such a great story. And if someone doesn't recognize that, like you said, that's miles apart on what the values are, the brand is in the story. But those little things, like you said, those little things, right, it can have such a massive impact, right?
yes, and it's part of you have to know. You have to know what you're about, but then it has to become made manifest in everything you do.
Hmm.
So, one of our pillars is we're going to make this personal. It's both how we feel about it. It's, we're not chasing transactions, we're building relationships. So, it affects our packaging, but it
Hmm.
affects how we answer the phone. There's no
Hmm.
voice jail. You're going to talk to an actual human. We don't do
Hmm.
scripts, you're going to have a human conversation. It
Hmm.
affects how we paint the walls. It
Yeah.
affects, we told you we started off doing home deliveries. Now we ship all over the world. And depending on the day, there could be 1,000 orders going out. If it's July, there could be 40 orders going out.
Hmm.
But if we get an order between our office and our home, what are you doing?
I stay do home delivery.
Still doing home deliveries.
Yeah.
It's still making that connection.
Yeah.
And that makes us more resilient. So we're in
Hmm.
our 8th year. We're still here.
Yeah.
It's but it affects everything you do. So I'll give you 2 other examples. Email. Most companies will know every time you send out an email, you're going to get some sales. You want some revenue, send out an email. So
Hmm.
it's very tempting to send out an email every day. There are some companies I get 1 or 2 emails a day. We don't do that
No. Yeah.
because you have trusted us to give us that email.
Yes. Yeah.
We send out 2 to 3 emails a week, including an email from John every Friday. It's a
Hmm.
text email. It just comes from John
Yes.
sharing what he's up to and what's on his mind. Not selling you anything.
Hmm.
We get almost a 60% open rate on those emails.
Yeah.
We hear all the time. The other day we had a virtual speaking engagement, and the host started with, I look forward to getting John's email. I love this. I know what's going on. You build in that relationship.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, Black Friday and Cyber Monday are very real.
Hmm.
Well, what do? We do Gratitude Week that starts before Thanksgiving. And it's all based on saying thank you to our customers and giving things away. It's not buy, buy, buy. It's how can we show our gratitude? And it's kind of a very old fashioned thing, and people may not even notice it. On Thanksgiving Day, we don't send out any emails. The only
Hmm.
social media posts we do a live video just thanking people
Yeah.
because we'll respect the holiday. Um, I've listened to very smart people tell me, Mark, you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
Now,
Entrepreneurs, I find, are rarely successful when they focus on the money. It's when you focus on your customers and doing the right things that I think it falls into place. It's as soon as you start, and because I've experienced this too, is you start getting pulled over here because how many times the experts the experts say, and usually it ends up being a bit of a slap on the wrist, and then we come back to what people like doing business with people. And there's nothing better than talking with our customers and getting to know them. And suddenly we're getting referrals from them. And it's just, yeah, you're right. It's our mantra over the past year has been do it right, not fast. Because there were times that we like I said, got slapped on the wrist for trying to do the opposite. And you guys, I really credit you guys because it's the things you talk about are so truthful and true to the brand, but you can also see and you get the benefit of it being really effective because it's people will respond to that integrity and that truthfulness, right?
and it runs through everything. It
Hmm.
connects us with our customers. It it's part of what makes us a great place to work.
Yeah.
People feel good about the work we're doing.
Hmm.
You realize, it turns out there are no sock emergencies. That we're working together, but it also helps because of other things we then get to do.
Hmm.
Um, so I mentioned before we're going to Washington D.C. as soon as this recording is done, because we're meeting with people on Capitol Hill.
Hmm.
Because of our story and media coverage we've had, people will listen to us. That helps us fulfill our mission because it
Hmm.
creates an obligation to speak up for people with different abilities.
Hmm.
It also gets us media attention. Right before I got a feedback, the largest newspaper in this area, Newsday, is going to publish an op-ed piece I wrote tomorrow because they know who we are and because we're believable people.
Hmm.
You have us on your podcast. How generous is that of you? And it's because, oh, these guys have something, a serious story to tell. I mean,
Hmm.
yes, I have to caution on that. We are a couple knuckleheads selling socks,
Absolutely.
but what we want to do,
As change the world.
change the world.
Hmm.
Um, and those entrepreneurs that are out there, they know that too.
Yeah, it's well, I'm a knucklehead selling software. Like but it comes down to that desire. Like I said, it's not about money. It's so rare I meet an entrepreneur that talks about money. It's about a dream, a vision, like that, trying to change the world. I was watching it. I was watching a show on it's on Amazon. It's Clarkson's Farm. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but as Jeremy Clarkson used to be part of Top Gear, started a farm, and it's really well done show, and it's got its TV production side, of course, to it, but at the core, he's basically turned into a farmer. And the last episode, he talked about it being a way of life, and it what it struck me was, you know what, like being an entrepreneur, it's a way of life. It's a way of life first. It's dollars second, right? And it just, like I said, it's a community. It's a community that's global. That when you sit down with another entrepreneur, it's like they got the same challenges, the same stories, but they see opportunity and they want to change the world. And I see that so much in you guys, which I find, just so inspiring as well to hear you guys talk about this. So.
Well, it's one of the things I trace it back to in the late '60s. The economist Milton Friedman published a paper, and in fact, an article in the New York Times, saying companies had one obligation. Their only obligation was to their shareholders. And that took root. And I would argue that's when things went wrong. That in fact, all of us businesses, I don't care how big or small you are, we have an obligation to all of our stakeholders, to our employees, our colleagues, to our customers, to our community, to the environment. And when you do that, you're more resilient. And in fact, the UN has data, you're more profitable in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Eh,
nice to see that they actually have data to say if you do things right. Because yeah, like I think that was one of the most damaging sort of quotes in the last, how many years, right? And because it got traction, and it got traction for all the wrong reasons. And I think even the most cynical CEOs, I hope, are starting to recognize that that's there's your stakeholders, like you said, you have to take care of. It's your staff, your colleagues, it's your customers, of course, it's your community, it's the environment, all these things that you talked about. And the shareholder, it's the result you get out of doing the rest. And
yes.
if and that kind of philosophy is so critical.
Well, think about our little business. So we have a mission to spread happiness. We have to start at home.
Hmm.
If our colleagues aren't happy, if they're not finding this work meaningful and nourishing, how are we going to spread happiness? And it was something I learned long ago running healthcare management firms. You know, the people that talk to customers, be it salespeople, be it your customer service people, they are so important because they represent your company.
Hmm.
And their job is a hard job.
Yeah.
You get somebody on the phone who's asking questions. Now, we don't get angry people calling here, but other places, they're angry, they're upset.
Hmm.
You don't know what's coming in. Yes, I believe let's use the machines to do what the machines can do and free up humans to do what humans can do. But you
Yeah.
need to be able to get the right people, put them in the right mindset, give them the right training, and you need to trust them.
Hmm.
They have your business in your hands. You can't
Yeah.
treat them as just entries in a spreadsheet.
No, no, absolutely not.
And
It's
then if you do that, it makes it such a better place to be.
Yeah, it's enjoyable too. Like it's enjoyable for
Right.
everybody, right? Yeah, exactly. So I know we're coming up close on time here, and I am going to ask how people find you and everything. But I do want to, John. I want to just. I know, Mark, you and I've been chatting kind of nonstop about some of the these nuts and bolts things. But John, I want to ask you, like, so you came up with this idea when you graduated, and you're saying, okay, you see an opportunity, and there's something you're passionate about. Now you and your dad have been at this for what, 8 years? You said.
Yeah, we'll celebrate our 8th anniversary in December.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I want to like ask you, John, like how has this sort of changed your life, and how fulfilling has this been for you over the last 8 years to have this idea that's turned into this thing that employs people?
How does this business make you feel? You took a dream and you made it a reality,
Yes.
and you've employed people and you get to do all these things. How does it make you feel?
Uh, I I run this. I run this. My business. Our business. I feel. I feel really. I feel really good. I'm showing my impact and showing the opportunity, and sharing with my colleagues,
Mhm,
and sharing my colleagues, and uh, sharing my customers, and
mhm.
and and that is changed the world, and that makes me so good. That makes me happy.
You like doing things like these podcast interviews?
I do.
You're good at it too, huh?
Yeah, I feel good. I'm better than
Yeah.
a piece of ham.
You're a piece of ham. I I knew, there are those moments, and things happen at different layers. I'm so fortunate to get to work with my son.
Mhm.
And I knew, there was this one moment. We get a lot of elected officials. They come through. They like
Yes.
pictures. So our county executive had come in, and to give him credit, he wanted to learn more about the issues and what we did. But he brought a proclamation, and at the end of his visit, he's like, "John, stand over there. I want to present you with this proclamation." And he had his entourage taking pictures and videos. And John said, "Wait a minute." And he got all his colleagues around him.
I did.
And then county executive read the proclamation and handed it to John. And John said, "But this is not really for me."
And I said, it's very special, and I am really fortunate. And when I get to, I did a proclamation to my colleagues. My colleagues, the one, the one, they work really hard, and I'm sure my colleagues can do. And my colleagues I get their opportunity, and they show all the impact. I did. My colleague worked so hard.
That was pretty cool, though.
It,
That was a good.
amazing.
That was a good moment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this was a really terrific, and I give you guys credit. And I can see one of the reasons you guys work so well together, because you have this shared vision and this shared mission that I think is sometimes rare too. And it's terrific to see you have, hold those values, and to have this opportunity, and to grab it, and to have been at it for 8 years and growing, and really doing well. So I give you guys so much credit for that. And also, I want you guys to share how people can find you. And I also want to know, because I'm pretty sure my wife's going to want some crazy socks. So, so we were definitely going to look you up too. But how can people find you guys?
You can find us at John's Crazy Socks.com. Check it
John,
out. Check it out our platform.
johnscrazysocks.com.
Yep.
Terrific.
We have a very simple value offer. You're going to get socks you love, socks that make you happy. We have over 30.
I make you feel good and a great sock.
We have over 33,000 five-star reviews. But when you buy from us, you help us employ people with differing abilities. More than half our colleagues have a differing ability. You help us give back. John here has now donated over $750,000 to our charity partners, like Special Olympics.
Special Olympics. Now sit down to anxiety.
Most of all, you help us spread
And
happiness.
spread happiness.
You can also find us on all the usual social media platforms. Just look for John's Crazy Socks. We're on LinkedIn. If somebody wants to find me, I'm the only Mark X Cronin on LinkedIn.
He don't want to swear his name.
No, we don't want to be smirchy other Mark Cronins.
Yeah.
If you're a business out there, we have a raft of business services, custom socks, a welcome package for new customers and new employees, gift services for nonprofits. We have a free charity fundraising program. Lots of ways to connect.
Yeah, that's terrific. Well, it's well, thank you guys, and I also want to mention, if you guys are looking for a way to forecast your cash flow, understand where the future of your business lies, come and visit us at dryrun.com, and we'd love to help you out. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Blaine.
This was just terrific. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you, Blaine.